Last class, we have seen context sensitive grammars for generating the class of languages, namely context sensitive languages. And today, we are going to discuss about the class of automata generating the class of context sensitive languages. And the class of automata that we are going to discuss today is linear bounded automata. So before we start discussing about linear bounded automata, let us recollect the different classes of automata that we studied till now. The first class of automata that we have learned is about finite state automata. If you recall, in a finite state automata, the structural components are a finite length read-only input tape, where the read head moves only to the right. This is the read head which can move one cell to the right at any step during the computation. So it's a read-only tape. You can only read from left to right. And the only other component is a control unit with a finite set of states, which can remember finite amount of information about the processed input. For example, you can remember whether the number of A's processed is even or odd. For that you need only two states. We know how to remember it. So you can remember finitely many information about the processed input as context of the state in the machine. But a finite state automata cannot remember infinitely many information about an input. Suppose for the input AB, BAB, the automaton whose initial state is Q0 starts in this configuration, where the read head is pointing to the first simple int input. Maybe after a finite number of steps in the computation, it can reach into an intermediate configuration where the read head is pointing to the middle simple int input, and finally you will finish reading the input. And whether or not you accept is depending on the status of the state in the final configuration. Final configuration is the one where you finish reading your input. Not that you can read the input from the leftmost simple to the rightmost simple by moving the read head to the right one cell at a time. And the input is accepted or in the language if and only if the state in the final configuration is a final state. So this is what we know. An example of a language which is a regular language represented by the finite state automata is the set of all strings starting with A and ending in B. And that is the first class of automata that we discussed. The second class of automata that we have learned is push down automata. And if you recall its structure, this is the structure. What are its components? Read only input tape where the read head moves only to the right. So exactly the same component in finite state automata. Second component is the control unit with finite set of states which can remember finite amount of information about the process of the input. This is again same as the control state in the finite state automata. So these two components are same. And in addition to these two components, the push down automata is getting one more structural component, which is a stack used as an intermediate storage. So while processing your input, you can use stack to remember the structure of the input or the number of impulse, etc. So this is the structure. And what is the computation? Suppose the push down automata starts in the initial configuration for this input. Read head pointing to the first impulse, only bottom of stack impulse in the stack. Maybe after a finitely many steps, it reaches to a middle configuration with a non-empty content in the stack, and finally, suppose you reach into this configuration where you finish reading your input and the stack is empty, then you are accepting. And for this, I assume that the acceptance criterion is stack empty acceptance. So when you finish reading the input, suppose the stack is empty, then you accept. If the stack is non-empty like this, then you cannot accept, then the input is not in the language, and if it is empty when you finish reading, it is in the language, the input is in the language. So that is push down automata. And note that in both these cases, the input tape is read only and the read head moves to the right. At every point in computation, the read head must move to the right cell in the tape. So if there are n impulses, in n steps you will finish reading the input, and after that you will decide whether your input is accepted or not. Epsilon transitions are going to make some trouble that you can manage, but for today's discussion you don't have to worry about the epsilon transitions. And if you want an example language accepted by a push down automata for which there is no finite state automata, you can consider this language a to the power n, b to the power n, where n is greater than or equal to 0. So this is what we have learned about different classes of automata. Now an interesting question is, how can we get a more powerful automaton to recognize the language a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n, where n is greater than or equal to 0. This language is proved to be non-context free, and hence we know that we cannot have a push down automata and hence a finite state automata for this language. Means we need more powerful automata to recognize this language. And the topic for today is about a more powerful automaton which can recognize this language. And the automaton is known as linear bounded automata. And suppose you have an automaton with this structure. Please don't get confused. I am going to explain what are the structural components in this. First is the finite set of states in the control unit, same as that of finite state automata and push down automata. So don't worry about it, it's exactly the same component. And the only other component is a read write tape. Not that in the other two machines we had only read tape, read only tape, but here you can read and write. Okay, so you can use this as an intermediate storage also, because you can write into this tape, input tape itself. And read write head can move to the right or left. Suppose the read head is or read write head is pointing to this cell, then the transition can say move to the right or move to the left, provided left movement is not allowed from the leftmost cell and right movement is not allowed from the rightmost cell, but otherwise you can move left or right. And the next point about the tape is, the tape is initially assumed to store the input string delimited by the left hand marker and the blank symbol. So, in the left side and right side of the input, you have left hand marker and the blank symbol. Okay, this is the input a square, b square, c square, which is delimited in the left with a left hand marker and in the right with a special symbol on the tape, which is called the blank symbol. And after that blank symbol, you have blank symbols in all the cells except the last one where you can have a right hand marker. Not that the input is in the beginning, just after the left hand marker, until you see the first blank symbol. Whatever is there in between is called the input. In this example, a square, b square, c square. And suppose the input size is n is the length of the input, then the number of cells in the tape which the machine can use is bounded by a linear function of n. For example, here the input length is 6, a square, b square, c square is 6, and the total number of cells that this machine can use is a linear function of 6, that is 6 into a natural number k1 plus k2, that is a linear function of 6. Now, the machine can scan the input string in right or left direction any number of rounds, and that also is a powerful mechanism here. Unlike in the case of finite state automata and push down automata, where you are restricted to move only to the right and only one scanning of the input from left to right. Here you can move any number of rounds back and forth. You can move all the way here, go back to the leftmost symbol, then come back, come right maybe to 3 symbols, go back. That you can decide. Just like the two-way DFA that we discussed, here the read head can move to the right and left any number of times. That is a very important property of it, and that is the second component. Hope you got the structural components in linear bounded automaton. Now, the question is, what can be a transition function? This is an example. You can say, what if the current state is Q0 here, and the current input symbol is left hand marker, that is what you are saying. If this is the current state and this is the current input symbol, then in the RHS, what are you saying? You are saying, replace this input symbol with the same symbol. You always have to say what you have to replace here. If you don't want to replace, give the same symbol here. Okay. Then change to state Q1. That is, change your state to Q1. Replace the current input with this input. That is, in this case, it is not going to make any change in this cell. But you have to always say what symbol is going to be rewritten in the current cell. If you don't want to change, same symbol you can give here. And then you have to say, move the read right head to the right is what you are saying. Here you can either say R or L. R means you move to the right, L means you move to the left. That is what you are saying. Now the question is, how can you use this machine to recognize the language a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n? Not that you can move right and left any number of times, you can replace this impulse. So the question is, how will you do it? And this is how I am going to do it. What I will do is, I will do this. What I did, not that I had a square, b square, c square. I am going to mark the first A, first B and first C with the capital ABC. That is what I did. That is, I have cancelled the first A, first B and first C by rewriting it with the corresponding capital letters. And then what you do after this, do it for the second symbol as well. Okay, that means now I have marked every simple. And suppose the input is in the form a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n, then after n rounds of marking, you will finish marking all the simples. If the number of simples differ, then there will be at least one simple unmarked. Then you can find the string as not in the language. So this is the rough idea. So what should I do is, first you mark the first small a with capital A, move all the way to the right, find the first B, replace it with capital B, then you move right searching for the first small c. Then the moment you find it, what you can do? You replace the small c with capital C. The moment you do it, you know that you finished one round of marking an a B and a C. So you can go back and repeat. So you turn to the left, move all the way to the left until you reach the capital A, then turn to the right and repeat the same. What you do? First you find the first A, replace it with capital A, then move all the way until you find the first small b, replace it with capital B, again you move right until you find the first small c, replace it with capital C. This is what you do in the second round, and for this particular input you finished. Now we can try to design the machine. You need to have a transition for the initial configuration. What is the current state? Q0. Current input symbol is left hand marker. And in this case, you don't want to do anything other than moving the real right here to the next symbol in the right. So without changing the state and without changing the symbol, you move right is what you are saying. And if you apply this transition, you are moving right. Okay. Now what you need? You need a transition from Q0 for small a. What you can do? This is the first a. In Q0, what you are searching for is the first small a. So the moment you see the first small a, you replace it with capital A and move right. And because you found your small a, you change your state to. Remember that I just have marked a small a. So the context of the state Q1 is that I just have marked a small a. So in Q1, I will be searching for the next small b. So this is what, if I apply this, I was here, replace small a with capital A, change your state to Q1 and move right. That's what I did. Q1, move right, small a is getting replaced with capital A. Now in Q1, I am searching for the first small b. But what are you seeing here? It is small a. So what do? You move right. This is the corresponding transition. If I am seeing an a while I am in Q1, I have to move right by retaining the symbol a. That's what I do. And if I fire this transition, I will just move right. That's what happened. Now I found the first b in Q1. So what you can do? You replace the small b with the capital B, and you also have to change your state because now you found the b and your context is going to be changed, and the context is in Q2 where you want to find the first C in the right. Hope you are following me, otherwise think about it offline. So in Q1 you are finding a B means you got your target in Q1, so you change your state to Q2, replace it with capital B and move right. If you apply that transition, this is what is happening. In Q2, your aim is to find the next small c. Now you are finding a B while you are in Q2. So you just have to move right. That's what I am doing here. Move right. And if you apply this transition, I will just move right without changing state. That's what I did. Now you are finding your target while you are in the state Q2. The target for Q2 is to find the next small c. Okay. So what do? Now you change the small c with the capital C. One round of marking is over. You have to go back. So you have to change your state to Q3. Replace small c with capital C. Move left. And if you apply that transition, what will happen? You will change to Q3, you will move left, this small c will be replaced with capital C. This is what is happening. And not that in Q3, your objective is to move all the way to the left until you find the last capital A when you move to the left. So, if you are meeting a small b in Q3, what you do? You move left, apply that production, move left. Even if you find a capital B, you know that you have to move left. So, this is the corresponding transition that you need. You are moving to the left because your objective is in Q3 is to find the capital A. So, you move left. If I apply that production, you will move left in Q3. And what is it now? In Q3, I am finding a small a. That also is not what I am looking for. So, without changing small a, you move left. This is the transition. So, if you apply this transition, what will happen? Moving left. Now, you found your target. In Q3, you are meeting a capital A. What is the meaning? Yeah, capital A was the last small a marked. So, I can repeat now the second round. I can repeat marking in the second round. So, what you do? You change your state to Q0 because now I have to repeat. Starting from small a, I have to mark all these symbols. And that is why I am coming back to Q0 again. Retain that capital A and move right. If I apply the transition, I will get Q0A. For Q0A, I already have a transition. What is it? This is the first A in the next round. Mark it with capital A and move right to Q1. Okay, if I apply that transition, what will happen is I will move right in Q1. In Q1, my intention is to find the next small b, and now I don't have a transition for Q1b. I don't have it. I need to define it, and that is why I left a blank space here. If you are in Q1, your aim is to find the next small b, and hence if you are getting capital B, you just move right without changing the state. So, if I apply this transition, I will move right, and now you are finding your target small b, and you have a transition here. Because you found your target, what you do? You change your state to Q2 because now you have to search for small c and replace it with capital B. So, just do it by applying the transition, moving right, and while you are moving right in Q2, what you are looking for is small c, but here what you are getting is a capital C, and you don't have a transition for Q2 capital C. In fact, you have to move right and you need a transition here. That is why there was a left out space here. So, just move right. If you apply that newly added transition, you will get onto this state. And now you are finding your target while you are in Q2. So, you have already a transition for that. What is it? Replace it with capital C. Now, you mark the C also in this round, then move left in Q3 and repeat. That is what I am doing. Okay, now I am in Q3, I am getting a capital C. I don't have a transition for that. So, capital C means just move left, because until I see a capital A, I have to move left. So, if I apply, I am moving left. In Q3, I am getting a capital B. Here is a transition for that, move left. Again, this transition can be applied now because Q3B, move left. Now, I am getting Q3A. I have already a transition defined here. What do you do? Now, that round is also finished. What I can do is I can move right and replace the capital A, retain it and move right in Q0. Not that in this input we are done. In Q0, actually you are going to find the next small a, but in this case it is not there. That means you finished reading all the small a's. So, what you can do, you can move all the way to the right. Suppose all the small b's and all the small c's are replaced, then that means the input is in the language. So, in Q0 you can move all the way to the right while you see capital B or capital C. So, you move right, again the same transition, move right. Now, for this you have to define a transition because capital C is already marked, move right. capital C, move right. Now you're getting into this configuration. What is the meaning? You move all the way to the right, everything is marked. That means equal number of A's, B's and C's, and you reach into the first symbol after the last input symbol. So at that point you can accept. And in linear bounded automata, how are you accepting is by entering a special accept state, namely the state T. T is the accept state. Once you get into that, then you are accepting. That's it. So regardless of where you are in the input tape, you are accepting if you reach into a configuration where the state is T. So that's it. Now the transitions are not complete, and because suppose you get an input string which is not in the language. For example, suppose you are getting this. While you are in Q0, you know that you are searching for the next small a. If you are finding a small b, what is the meaning? Without a small a b is there. That is, number of b's is more, and hence you can reject. And you can reject by entering a special state called the reject state, just like in 2A DFA. That's what you can do. And similarly, if you find C while you are in Q0, that means A's and B's are there, corresponding C is not there. Then also you have to reject. Similarly, if you find in Q1 you are searching for a small b. If you are finding a small c, that means without a b there is a c, so you have to reject. And similarly, in Q2 you want to find a small c. You are searching for small c by moving all the way to the right. Suppose you are getting into the blank symbol. What is the meaning? Corresponding to the lastly marked b, there is no c. That is the meaning. And hence, in this case also you have to reject. And that's the transition that you need here. Hope you followed it. Otherwise, please watch it again and think about it offline. And because of the interest of time, now let me proceed to the next slide. So here is a linear bounded automaton that we designed for accepting this language. With that example, now we can formally define a linear bounded automata. A linear bounded automata is a structure of this form. Please don't get confused. There are 10 components in the tuple. I'm going to tell you what are all these things. Q is the finite set of states. In the example, we had these states. Not that T and R are special states. T is the accept state and R is the reject state. And what is sigma? Finite set of input alphabets. In the example, ABC, input alphabets. And next is gamma. What's it? It's a superset of sigma. That is, gamma contains all the input symbols, and gamma is called the tape alphabet. For example, in the previous machine, it contains all the input symbols. In addition to that, we had left hand marker, right hand marker, and the blank symbol. So it's a superset, and in addition to the input symbol, you can use any number of finite number of symbols that you can write onto the tape to mark something. And what is next? Next is small s, which is the state known as the start state. In the example, that was Q0. And next is transition relation that you remember. From the current state, if the next symbol is something, then what is the next state? What is the symbol that is going to replace the current symbol, and the direction of move, either right or left. So that is the transition function. Not that what we have discussed is deterministic transition function. And then next is the left hand marker, is a tape symbol. Then the right hand marker, a tape symbol. Then a special blank symbol, again a tape symbol. And the only accept state and the only reject state. So it's not difficult if you recollect all those things from the example. And what is the language accepted by a linear bounded automata? I am giving you the definition. The family of languages accepted by the class of linear bounded automata is precisely the set of context sensitive languages. You can prove it, but we don't have to do it because it's not included in the syllabus and we don't have time. If you are interested in, please refer to the literature and see how can you prove the equivalence between context sensitive grammars and linear bounded automata. With this, we are moving on to the last slide of this lecture, where I am giving you a practice question as assignment. You please try to find a linear bounded automaton for this language. So in this class, we have seen linear bounded automata, which is the class of automata equivalent in power to context sensitive grammars. Thank you.